been to some fireplaces. It's hard to carry on when you feel all alone. Now I've swung back down again. It's worse than it was before. If I hadn't seen such riches, I could live with being poor. Oh, sit down, oh, sit down, oh, sit down. Sit down next to me. Sit down, 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 down. Sympathy.
So, good evening, everyone. Tonight we're going to have just a general chat about anything Arsenal, Ronaldo, Man United, Newcastle, World Cup. So, Darren, good to have you back on again, mate. Is it really? Where are you in Lapland? You look, you like woolly hat on,
Well, we're the Christmas champions, aren't we?
Yeah.
We've won the league at Christmas, so I thought, get it on, get the merch on, get the Christmas merch on for the Gooners, Christmas champions.
Absolutely, we're there, mate. Let's end the league now. That's it. The end of the story. And Kenny Ken, good to have you back on as always on a Wednesday night, mate.
Thank you very much.
And you've got obviously the obligatory Arsenal. Yeah, absolutely. Actually, I went to put an Arsenal shirt on tonight. I can't. They're all in the wash, so I haven't got one. I failed you.
I've got thousands of Arsenal shirts, but you know what's happened, right? Since I've got a bit older, I don't really like displaying colours anymore unless it's really warm. So I always have it under a jacket and then I'm a fingerless gloves. But some of the topics are hot potatoes, but I'm sure that everyone in the British public with a satellite device or Freeview will be getting themselves out of Piers Morgan at 8:00 because we're going to be seeing a full transcript of the interview. Everyone knows my views, and I'm more than happy to repeat them because I think I can see. I think we'll discuss it, but before we start, I am going to lie. I am so looking forward to the World Cup because. The reason why I'm looking forward to World Cup, I know it's going to be it's going to hurt our diet of, Premiership football, which we love and we're passionate about and we get immersed in. But I think I need a break mentally from the Premiership. That's why I'm desperate for the World Cup, to disturb our peace. And most importantly, another thing as well is that it only comes around every 4 years, and I think, England could win it or Brazil could win it. So I think we're going to just see, a bit of football. I tell you now, everyone who says they're not going to watch the World Cup because of the human rights situation in Qatar and any other thing, any other like the fact that the times and everything, I think they may change their minds because that's what the World Cup does to you.
Yeah, totally agree with you on that. The funny thing is, I obviously we were on podcast and Lee's show the other night, Kenny, and I was actually saying, World Cup, not interested. Actually, I've changed my opinion. I'm actually quite looking forward to it, actually. And the reason for that is I remember Mexico 70 as a little kid. And my dad bought me, it was a little book. You could fill all the scores in and it had all the teams and all that. And I got so big into that. I thought, I'm actually going to get into this time. I'm actually looking forward to it. First, and one of the reasons, obviously, being part Welsh, first time I've ever seen Wales in a World Cup, and never thought I would. So I'll be watching that, and I'm going to do. I'm going to get into this time round, and see what goes on. I mean, but Darren, what's your view? What's your view of the World Cup, mate?
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. I know it's not the summer, it's not a normal World Cup, but I actually think sometimes in life it is nice to do something a little bit different, get out your comfort zone, what your normal I don't like breaking with tradition. I like to keep tradition. But look, this is probably going to be a one-off out in Qatar. And as Kenny Ken quite rightly says, focus should be just on the football, Otherwise, it's just going to get hijacked. And for England's point of view, I'm actually a little bit concerned now. When there's a political swarm over things, the country that are actually running it, if you start running them down and start trying to erode them and saying that what they're doing is a crock of shit, are they then going to say, hang on a minute, we don't like this abuse that we're getting from people, and actually start getting the cupboard out, looking at the gold watches, approaching the refs? Because a lot of these people are saying that it's corrupt, it's corrupt, it's corrupt. Well, I'm sorry, just open your eyes. There's corruption everywhere in the world, in every country you go in. It's not just in Qatar. There's plenty of corruption in every country in the world.
Yeah.
So that's my biggest concern, that, England might get through the group stages, and somebody just have a little word, with the refs and that, look, come on, sort them out, get rid of them.
You know what? Sorry, Kane. I think what Darren says is the bravest thing he's ever going to say, and I think there's a lot of people who believed it. I think Hugo Lloris deserves a medal. The reason why I think he deserves a medal is because we ask people to come to our country, and one of the things we hate is when people do not respect our customs, no matter whether they agree with it or not. And yet we're going to Qatar and we're disrespecting their customs. Yes, I do understand from a perspective of what people regard as properly human rights, what they call human rights perspectives or transgressions. But this is the World Cup. And one of the things is that you have to respect the traditions of the countries you're going to. You can't have it tit for tat. And I think people in Europe, I understand that there's, that there is a social conscience, feeling all over the world, in America and Europe. But the fact is that we've known for about 12 years that Qatar's going to get the tournament. Let's pay them a bit of respect, accept their hospitality, understand that from their perspective, they do not understand the issues that we have to abide by in their country. Remember, our country. We're not in our country, we're in their country. And we've got rather than rubbish everything that's happened in the country, by all means, acknowledge the thing and say, well, this is not right. But try and show these people respect. They put on a very good tour. They spent billions of pounds. They're having to adjust their way of life to accommodate us. It's just all the 32 countries. At least cut them a bit of slack, and get with it, show them respect, and enjoy yourself.
And there's nothing wrong, Kenny, there's nothing wrong with making a statement and saying, well, what you actually do is wrong, Qatar, and how you go about your business is wrong, but just once. Don't keep pushing. Every day you turn the TV on, it's there. Oh, the protest, this. It's too much.
Totally agree with you on that one. Just shout out Mr. B for life. Very kind donation, my friend. Thank you for that. Big up legend Jez and panel Kenny. Was alternate England won the T20 Cricket World Cup, bruv. Kenny, over to you on that one.
Well, I think me and Darren are both cricket fans, with the exception of yourself. But I thought it was a fantastic achievement for England. I think since Andrew Suras took over, operations in 2015, he's placed a lot of emphasis on white ball cricket. Obviously, it was towards the 50-over game, but also, obviously, it seems that the 50-over game is going to be lost to us because of the fact that the workloads in terms of Test cricket, which has to be preserved, and the fact that a lot of money now is going into T20 tournaments, and obviously England have now got the 100 with the ECB or basically putting everything into in terms of making it a success. So this is an awesome achievement, and I just hope that England carry it on, because there's a conveyor belt of players now playing one white ball cricket, and it's only going to get better for England. and when one player leaves, another player's going to take over. So B for life, fantastic achievement. I was cheering all over my house when England beat Pakistan.
Did you play the piano behind you?
Piano. I don't drink, so I had the Ribena and Diet Coke celebrating.
Darren, I didn't realise, mate, you're a cricket fan.
Yeah, I like the Test matches and the 60 over. I'm not as keen on the T20 because I've not really sort of grown up watching the T20. It's all right, but I prefer a nice 5-day Test match or 60 overs, 50 overs, 40 over game. But great news that we beat them. I didn't get to see the game, unfortunately, because I was at work. But brilliant news, yeah. And Ben Stokes is definitely picking it up again since he become captain again, isn't he?
Yeah, I mean, I must admit, I'm not a big cricket fan. I do actually like watching the Ashes. I do. I'll admit that. I can get into that. Craig AFC 87, Jez, Kenny Ken, Darren, big up. Nice to see you, mate. We've got Warren's team talk. Good evening, lads. Good to see you all. Ronaldo, no thanks. Yeah, okay. I've seen this. I have seen this, and it's a good point. Arsenal fans saying they'll take Ronaldo seriously after what's gone on, what we've seen, and what we're going to see with the Piers Morgan interview. So I'm going to pop this to you, Darren, on this one, first of all. Do you think Ronaldo has fallen for a trick here? Or do you think he's done this to actually truly expose Man United? What's your view on it?
Perhaps a bit of both. I mean, he did a documentary with Piers Morgan a while back, didn't he? I saw a little bit of it, and I don't like Piers Morgan sort of hogging this Arsenal sort of agenda. Yeah, we all know he's an Arsenal supporter, but to get Ronaldo on there and start chatting him up on the TV and getting the Arsenal shirt out. I looked at a bit of the interview. I can see both sides, Ronaldo and Man United sides of things. But I think it was a bit of a daft signing by Man United in the first place. Fergie has allegedly got involved when Ronaldo was going to go to Man City, rung him up and said, "Oh, come to Man United instead." So from the off, I think Man United have seen the money and thought, "Oh, look, we're going to earn a load more money through shirt sales. Let's get him on board again." And then this football is secondary, much like another club that is very dear to our hearts, although we are top at the moment. I think the Man United club saw the pound, shilling and pence, marketing Ronaldo, getting more fans on board around the world and everything. So I just signed him up and just thought, oh, right, well, he'll be good. And let's be honest, he banged a load of goals in last season. And when I watched him playing these games, he actually looks like he's adapted his game from being a speed flying machine out on the wings to someone who can time his runs really well, nod goals in with his head, get in the box, a bit like a Teddy Sheringham for Man United when he was doing the business for them. And he was effective last season. But, of course, the new managers come in and now everyone's sort of like, it's a bit of an elephant in the room. Everyone's looking around now thinking, what do we do with Ronaldo? Because if he can't press and run because he's not quick enough anymore at 37, how are we going to fit him in to it all? But it's sad, really, because I can see both sides, the bit with his child and everything, and it is very sad. But at the same time, you think to yourself, there's plenty of people out there that have got in the sad position where they've lost children and are not on the money he's on. I'm not saying that's, he's not got any feelings because he earns lots of money. He will have, and he's a dad. So he's entitled to time off. But still, he's earning all this money. And you just think, well, just be a bit more graceful, Ronaldo, for God's sake. You're 37. You're not 25 anymore, and you're not a flying machine, and you're not even going to be the poster boy or the big cog in the Man United machine anymore. Except you're going to be coming on for 20-minute cameos. Be proud of what you've achieved in your career. The bloke's a machine. You know, I mean, a lot of people compare him quite rightly with Messi in terms of how many goals he scored, now where we did at Real Madrid, Man United, how many trophies and everything else. So I think it's a bit of 50-50, really. Do I think he's fallen for a bit of trick? A little bit, because Piers Morgan, it's nice he's an Arsenal fan and he fights our corner a little bit, but I don't like to see Piers Morgan do all this, oh, come on, Ronaldo, come and join Arsenal. What gives Piers Morgan the right to start representing the Arsenal fan base? What gives Piers Morgan the right to start saying, oh, Ronaldo would be a good signing, get him on the TV with a shirt? And all right, you can say it's all a joke and a bit of fun and everything, but what if Edu and Arteta start talking, thinking about the possibility of it, bringing him in? All right, he'll be an upgrade on Eddie Nketiah, but his wages will be big. He'll be there for 6 months, you know, and then what's Piers Morgan going to say then when it don't work? What's Piers Morgan going to say when the rest of the squad get the ump with Ronaldo? What's Piers Morgan going to say when it upsets the apple cart and ruins our season? You know, I don't like any of it. I just wish it never have happened. The interview, all of it, you know, and Ronaldo perhaps should be looking, and probably is looking, for another club somewhere. And if I'm honest, I've got to put my neck on the line. I hope it's not Arsenal Football Club.
Well, would you take him?
No, I wouldn't, because I actually think he would upset the apple cart in there. I'm not saying that it wouldn't work, and if we take him, it'd be interesting to see what happens. I'm not saying, oh, that definitely wouldn't work. No, definitely don't get Ronaldo. But as a gambling man, or someone was to say, right, put your aspirations for Arsenal Football Club on the line here for this season, I would say no to Ronaldo, because there's other players out there.
Fair play. I'm going to get to Kenny. I sort of know Kenny's view on all this. But Kenny, give us your viewpoint on this whole situation. I mean, I know we talked about it the other night, but give us your breakdown.
Well, first and foremost, you know, is his age and the fact that the way we're playing, he won't suit. So there's no way that I can see Mikel Arteta take him anyway. Not even for the sort of the reasons that Man United have taken him. So it's not going to happen. Mikel Arteta clearly likes working with young players, and he likes working with, although we don't want him, he likes working to a smaller squad. And Mikel Arteta has to be the alpha and omega for it to work, just like his mate Guardiola and, you know, Moyes as well. So that's not going to happen. But in terms of Ronaldo, I think the problem with football fans is that a lot of, and we all include ourselves, we all pride ourselves on wanting people in top jobs to say how it is, tell us what's wrong, and tell us how to fix it. We don't want you to give a sort of interview where you're saying, you know what, everything's kind of bland interviews, like basically have been like media trained not to give the right answers and media trained to give a little. And basically say everything's all right in the garden. Ronaldo deserves a medal because the fact of the matter is that there's loads of Man United people, fans, people protests. Remember those guys who basically stopped the Liverpool Man United game in lockdown? Basically, Ronaldo is saying what every football fan has been saying who support Man United and outside Man United about the facilities. Now, we don't have to be there to know that the Carrington side, which Man United hold, is not at the level that Man City have. We know that their academy is nowhere near Man City's. We all know that. And we know that what Man United tend to do is they give managers money, but their infrastructure behind the scenes is bad. It's as bad as ours, although ours is getting better. So if your infrastructure behind the scenes is so bad, you're not going to be able to compete. They've got top level managers like Mourinho. They've got top level like Van Gaal, and also they got top level players. They outspend everyone in terms of transfer fees, but behind the scenes, it's bad. So a player who fans are going to listen to is basically saying that. So you've got to take that in consideration. Obviously, you mentioned Sir Alex, and I am critical of Sir Alex. A lot of people said, "Oh, he's only a figurehead," and that he's only an honorary member. But the fact is he's taking £2 million a year to watch whilst Man City, Liverpool, Chelsea, and it'll be us next who fly past some he built, him and some Busby built. Surely he's taking, all right, I know it's a pension for him, but surely he can't sit there and let that happen or not have an opinion. I know they'd probably pay him not to have an opinion. They'd probably pay him hush money. But the fact is, his club is a laughing stock. So in terms of what Cristiano Ronaldo says, he's got a point to say. Yeah, of course he said it. He wants to play every game. He wants to make sure that he sets records that can never be broken. He wants also that he also man marks Messi's career. So basically, whatever Messi does, he wants to do better. So of course he's going to get the ump. The fact that, the thing with Charlie feels he's not being supported, of course he's going to mind. So he is doing it, not for the best of Man United, doing it out of revenge. There's no doubt about that. He's not happy with Ten Hag. He's not happy with the criticisms he receives from everyone else. But what no one has ever said, despite the criticism of me supporting Ronaldo, and despite the criticism of Ronaldo, that he's wrong. No one's ever said that. And that's a problem. And that's the indictment of Man United, the football club, a club that we used to be scared of.
Yes.
That no one's ever saying Cristiano's wrong. And then you've got people like Wayne Rooney laughing and joking and criticising him. Well, Wayne Rooney should have empathy for Ronaldo because he tried to force a move to Man City in 2010 when Sir Alex was still there. So clearly something was wrong behind the scenes even in 2010 when Rooney tried to force a move to Man City. So all I can say right now is that every point he's made is valid. Forget the reasons. Man United fans need to ask themselves, do they want Man United to be the top club in world football again? Because if they don't, then they can, by all the means, criticise Ronaldo, say he's petulant, say he's this and that, and just watch Liverpool run away from them, watch us do it, and then Spurs with their big stadium, watch that happen. Because, right... Oh, no, I'm all right. I'll get something later.
I'm going to go now.
All right, I'll see you later. I'm on a podcast.
Oh, sorry.
All right.
The dog's been for a walk.
All right. You heard everything, didn't you?
Don't worry about it.
Yeah, but so basically the whole situation regarding that is it's up to what Man United fans think. By all means, you can waste your time criticising Ronaldo. You can waste time protecting, the good name of your great club. The players can, blank him and everything. But the fact is, they know he's right. Gary Neville knows he's right because Gary Neville spends about an hour every week talking about the problems Man United have when they lose. Whenever Man United win, they're going to get in the top four. I think they might win a trophy. The minute Man United lose, he talks about all the problems that Ronaldo's talked about. So, again, by all means, shoot the messenger, but don't ignore the message because Man United ignore the message when the best player in the world, the biggest name in football, is basically outlining everything is wrong. Then they deserve to be where they are, and they deserve to stay where they are.
Exactly. I mean, that brings me on to another point. Just speak, Mr. B for life. I'll do it after the show, mate. I can't do it live, but I'll mod you up after the show, brother. Yeah, I mean, this brings us on to a very, very good point. Man United. I mean, they, to me, at the moment, Darren, Kenny, anybody in the chat, they're in a mess. They are in a serious mess. The biggest club in British football history, and we can't deny that. Nobody can deny that. They are the biggest club in British football, and they seem to me in an absolute mess. I mean, we've talked about, haven't we, that Arsenal were after the Wenger years or during partly the latter Wenger years, we were in an absolute bloody mess. But Man United, I mean, to me, what has gone on there? I mean, seriously, if what we're led to believe is true about the Carrington training ground and all this and everything, then that is absolutely appalling for a football club of that stature. Darren, I mean, what's your view, my friend? What do you see that as? I mean, the fact that they've this comment here from Craig, Man United have removed a mural containing Ronaldo's image from Old Trafford. That's a serious indictment, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, they are a mess. You just got to ask yourself what they're going to do with people like Harry Maguire, who's not good enough in the Premier League. You know, Paul Merson hit the nail on the head. When he plays for Leicester or Hull and he's dropping back and they're playing on the counter attack, he's all right because he's got everything in front of him. But once he joins a big club like Man United and he's on the halfway line and the ball gets played over the top, that's it. He's finished. He's done. That's why I think he might have half a tournament with England, because he'll get away with playing a bit further back. Yeah, but Man United is a mess. I've me sort of 50-50. One point I think, oh, that's good news, you know, because they were our rivals. But then it is sad to see because they are a great club, you know. They're won a lot of trophies and they've had a lot of success. So Ten Hag is going to need, dare I say it, a little bit of time, a few seasons, just to maybe a season and a half, just to get rid of people. But he's going to have to get rid of people quick. He's going to have to get rid of Ronaldo. He's going to have to get rid of Harry Maguire. I still don't think Fred is good enough for Man United. And the list sort of goes on, really. It's and Gary Neville, I'll better keep it brief with him because I'll get myself in a lot of trouble.
Yeah.
He's another one. He's a bit like Piers Morgan. He likes to be the centre of attention, hogging the limelight and all this. And, you know, when that big syndicate come in to move all the games out in Europe, he was on there slagging it all off, you know, saying it's all a disgrace. But at the end of the day, he was worried for his job at Sky Sports. That was his main. He wouldn't have been doing half the ranting and raving he was doing if it weren't down to his job at Sky Sports. And I just think he comes out with all these political statements siding with one side over the other, yet he's seen cozying up with Bex out in Qatar saying, oh, we're off to an expensive restaurant now, you know, living the life. Yet the next minute he's getting politically involved and, you know, slagging off governments and stuff like that. You've either got to be one side or the other. You can't be both. But this is what he's like. See, he's maybe Gary Neville doesn't do Man United any good being on Sky Sports.
Right. Well, I won't say what I think about him, but Kenny, I mean, you know, the three of us have seen Man United over many, many, many years, and we've seen some greatness in this football club. I just can't believe the state they are actually in. I mean, what's your view, my friend?
Well, the state they're in is basically complacency. They got complacent because they generally believed that, you know, that because Sir Alex was there, the thing is that I don't think they accepted. I don't think any of us realised what a great manager Sir Alex is. Sir Alex is the greatest manager, along with Bob Paisley. Arsene Wenger's not in his league. All this stuff from Arsenal fans, biased Arsenal fans, respect them for saying that when they say that Arsene Wenger changed in European football and he did this and that. Yeah, he did. He might, yeah, maybe, but he didn't build team after team to win championships. He didn't see off Chelsea and Man City in his time. In fact, he waved the white flag. Sir Alex is the best manager Britain's ever produced, along with Bob Paisley in his short time between 74 and 83 because of what he's won. But Sir Alex, with the rubbish that, you know, that Man United became in terms of like player recruitment and facilities, he still made them competitive, and he still had them winning league titles, and he still got them to Champions League finals. Some he didn't win, some he won on penalties. So he's the greatest manager. But the problem is that we now know that as soon as he went, everything that was wrong with Man United got exposed. Moyes came in the job, got a 7-year deal, had nothing to work with, had to sack him because Man United had to be in the Champions League. Van Gaal, one of the best managers in Europe, couldn't do it, couldn't work with that. Mourinho was celebrating finishing second with 18 points behind City. So we knew so something had to be wrong there. And then you've got, Solskjaer, who's getting sacked when they're finishing second and third. But we know that they were hollow results. The whole thing needs to be, they've got to get rid, first and foremost, they've got to get rid of the Glazers. And after they get rid of the Glazers, they need to get an owner in from abroad who's prepared to hire the best people in every position at that club. And it has to be positions where they to make Man United great again. So get a director of football, he's the best in his job. Get a transfer negotiator, he's the best. Get work on that academy, make sure that that's the best in North West and of England. Get sort of training ground out, and then that enable any manager they get to compete. And then the best players will once again come to Man United, and then the best managers will thrive there. Players are only come to Man United for money. They got no chance of competing unless they take those steps that an outsider like myself has recommended. Because these are the steps I recommend for Arsenal. Because this is what City are doing. This is what Chelsea are doing. You can't be stubborn and just think, oh yeah, our history, like Arsenal done, what Liverpool did in the sort of in the 90s after their success in early 21st century, thought, oh yeah, their history is going to just enable them to challenge. You have to work. You have to change things that are not working. You have to be up to date with the best in the world. Because if you're not, then you're just going to be an ex-great club. Because my mate Mo Hader is always calling them ex-great clubs. He's right, unless these steps are taken.
Totally agree with you, mate. I mean, we, as you quite rightly and Darren, you said, we used to sit back in awe of Man United, and it was, Old Trafford was a fortress to go and play at. And some of the epic battles that we have been fortunate enough to witness in the days of George Graham and in the days of the Wenger era were epic games. I mean, we all remember when we went there and won the Premier League. I mean, that was something to behold. But Man United now, I mean, their capitulation to me is shocking, absolutely shocking. But we're going to move on. And just a couple of comments. Pete Hayward, as always my great friend. Will you apologise? What for? I don't know what you want me to apologise for. And this is a classic. Pete says, my life is defending Arteta, our greatest manager. Is he? He's never actually won anything apart from an FA Cup and a Community Shield. I think you might be a little bit deluded on that one. Go and actually, Pete, have a look at some of my History Channel stuff and look at some of the managers back in time. And watch tomorrow night, Pete, because I'm doing one about Arsenal's greatest managers or potentially greatest managers. You might learn something, but you've got to take it, haven't you? Glad you got rid of Peter Gaywood. He's there. 28 likes. Smash the likes up. Yeah, come on, guys. Smash them up. Oh, I have. Sorry. Sorry about that. Right, I'm going to bring this one in. Change the subject. Newcastle United, lying third. Yeah. They have done something, in my book, quite exceptional this season. Their manager, Eddie Howe, he's all right. We've got a game in hand. We are on 37 points. They're on 30. So they're only 7 points behind. We slip, they win. Right? They're on us. Now, this is going to be an interest in my honest opinion. This is going to be very interesting when we come back to playing on Boxing Day, and then onwards to the end of the season with the FA Cup and the Europa League. They don't have the Europa League, so they're not that pressure. They'll be in the FA Cup. Darren, do you see Newcastle as being a potential problem in the restart? I call it the restart because it is. It's like we're having a holiday. Do you see them being a problem?
Yeah, I do. They're there, aren't they? I think they've only lost one game, so they've drawn a lot. But whilst you've only lost one game after playing 14, 15 games, that's championship potential. If they rattle a load of victories together, put 10 on the trot together, you've got to say they're in the mix. We play them on the 3rd of January. So they've got a chance to take a scalp straight away. I don't know who they've got on Boxing Day and the other game between Boxing Day and New Year. But they've definitely got a chance of coming to our place at the Emirates and having a go. That is going to be a tough game for us at home. And Eddie Howe seems to be doing a lot of good things with a lot of what our term sort of bang average to good, very good players. Certainly no world-class players there. Isak looks good, but I think he's been injured for a long time. Callum Wilson is in the England squad now, and technically Callum Wilson's a good striker. He gets himself, he knows where to make the runs. He's popping a few goals in. Joe Willock as well. I can't believe that we're not making more of the fact that Edu and Arteta decided to let Willock slip out of the Emirates, and then we signed Sammy Lokonga, who's not sort of anywhere near the levels Willock's at. Willock seems to be popping up in games and getting goals for them. Whether he's going to be around at Newcastle in the next 2 or 3 seasons is another question. Maybe not, because by that time maybe they'd be shelling out millions and he'll be sort of sold on. But Eddie Howe definitely seems to be getting, good results with sort of like an emerging squad. So they're not finished yet, Newcastle. I don't even think they've even started. And there was rumours a few weeks ago they got Maddison Tillemans and someone else lined up in a big hit in January in the transfer window. So I definitely view Newcastle as a threat to us. I think they should get that phrase that I don't like, not 5th to 20th, but a little bit further up than that. Yeah, I don't think they'll have a problem getting in that, because I think all the other teams, like your Tottenhams, your Chelseas, your Man Uniteds, are not really cutting it at the moment. They're all getting beat and they're not looking comfortable squads, are they? So I think Newcastle, I don't think they'll win the league, but they're a threat. They are definitely a threat.
I think so. Just say David Martin says if Eddie Howe gets Champions League for Newcastle, he deserves manager of the league, in my opinion, that if they don't win the league. Yeah, I totally agree with that statement. I think what he's done at Newcastle is outstanding, to be honest. I mean, yeah, they've spent money. They haven't spent as much as Arsenal, but what's going on up there is fantastic, and good luck to them. I personally, I love Newcastle United. I love the city. I love the fan. I think the fans are brilliant. Kenny, I mean, what do you think? Do you think they're going to be a problem for us?
Yeah, just want to sort. The fixtures they got in Darren, they got in the Christmas period. They have Leicester City away on Boxing Day, and the way Leicester City are playing with little confidence and inconsistencies, I expect Newcastle win that comfortably. And then they got Leeds United at home, and then after Leeds United, they got us. So, these are the games where if they win both those games, they're going to come into our game with a lot of confidence. Whilst we've got Brighton, a bit tricky, and we've got West Ham. You don't know what West Ham are going to turn up. They can turn up and we can smash them 5-0, or they can turn up and have a go and they nick a point. That's the West Ham they're going to get. But in terms of Newcastle, everything's in place for them to be successful. You know, to the extent that, you know, they got a good enough team to get into Europe, if not sneak the top 4, because I do think that teams like Chelsea have got way too many injuries, and they're going to need all their best players to come back after Christmas for them to even, you know, stage a push for the top 4. In terms of Man United, we know there's a conundrum with Ronaldo. The biggest conundrum for everyone at Man United is that whether Man United fans like it or not, or whether his critics like it or not, Cristiano Ronaldo is still their best forward. And that is an indictment on Marcus Rashford, who hasn't progressed significantly for me since he made his debut 6 years ago. And it's an indictment on the inconsistencies of, Martial, that it hasn't worked out, because you remember they've since then they've had Ibrahimovic, they've had like I said, they've had what's his name? He's played for Chelsea, Belgian player. My mind's gone blank. Belgium. Lukaku.
Yes.
I've had Lukaku, and then as we speak, Mason Greenwood. He's got his court case next week, isn't it?
Mm.
So he's having an enforced rest where he's probably not getting paid.
Carney?
Was it?
No.
No, I mentioned Lukaku, but you know what I meant is that, yeah, so he's still there. Ronaldo's still levels above the players they got, but that's who Newcastle are going to compete with, and then you don't know what time I'm going to turn up. So if Newcastle keep winning, top 4 definitely for Newcastle, and then next year when they're in the Champions League, they're going to get the best. They're going to get any player they want, and they're going to get. If Eddie Howe, if they say to Eddie Howe, sorry about this, but we need a big name to attract big players, they'll get big names, and they'll be challenged for the title because of the money and the fact that they're doing everything behind the scenes. So, if not this season, but next season, that's challenging.
Absolutely, mate. I'll tell you what. My concern is Arsenal. We do know historically that Arsenal after Christmas can go into a bit of a, and they're on form. I mean, they've won their last 5 straight games, and this season to me reminds me a little bit of the old Leicester City season when the top teams were bit up, bit down, in between, in and out, and they snuck it and they won it, and well done. Well done to Leicester City. Arsenal, personally, I think that season we should have won it. We were the only team to beat them twice. So that was a bit of a shame. But I don't know. I think Newcastle, I think they're going to be in the mix, Kenny. I really do.
I think they're going to be very difficult to beat, because if you think about the... where's Darren, by the way?
I think he's back. Hang on. Let me get him back in. There he is.
Hi, Darren. Where were you?
Yeah, I've logged out. I've come back in again.
All right, mate. Yeah, basically, I was saying, I think Newcastle, I think that you can just talk about the calibre of player they have at the moment and the calibre of player they're going to get. So, they are going to change. But I think this season, you're right, they're still in the League Cup. I think psychologically, if they were to win a trophy this season and get into Europe and the top 4, that would kick-start Newcastle. Because you look at all the teams that have who've gone on to dominate since probably in the last 10 years. Or sorry, last let's just say 18 years. And they start by winning small trophies, like Chelsea won the League Cup. Man City won the FA Cup, their first trophy for 35 years in 2000 and 2011. And then after that, boom, domination. So Newcastle, I think mentally, they could do with winning a big trophy this season. because once they win trophies, win one, they're not going to stop winning, in my opinion, because they've just got the finances to get the best of the best.
Yeah, I personally, I'm sorry. I think Newcastle are going to be an issue. I am certainly not looking forward to having to go up to St James's Park and play them, and we again got to play them up there. I mean, that's going to be a total. We used to go up there and not even worry about it, and it was just a stroll in the park. Well, that got proved wrong last season, didn't it? They turned us over, and I think it's going to be a major problem this year. And everybody's shouting out, making it big. We're 5 points clear, da 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 da, and all that. Right, we're 5 points clear. Yeah, that's all great. We got to maintain that 5 points clear until May. So let's see what we come about. We've got to play Man City away at home. We've got to play Liverpool away, and I'm not too worried at this point in time about Man United. Liverpool away is always an issue. We know that. We don't do the business there. Newcastle away this season is going to be a problem. Seriously. And but before we wrap it up, I want to get your views, Kenny. I know you're getting mega excited about the World Cup. What's your prediction? Who's gonna win it?
Well, before Pogba and Kante got injured and Nkunku got injured yesterday, I was going to say France, but if Argentina and Brazil don't win it this year, alongside France, they're never going to win it, because it's a great opportunity for Argentina and Brazil. But I'm still going by France, because I think there is a potential quarter-final between England and France, and I just can't see England beating any of the top teams with the way they play, because defensively England are not strong, and in terms of like having a player who can keep possession, I can't see it happening. I love England to win it. I'm desperate for England to win it, but I think maybe, and I hope I'm proved wrong, I think that England have overachieved in terms of like their performances in Russia, getting to the 4th place and getting to the final Euro 2020. Because you think about it, whenever England played a team that was at the top of their game, they floundered. They went into their shell and they got dominated in terms of, in terms of the midfield. And Croatia, not even decent, but they still managed to win that semi-final in 2018. So I just can't see England beating a top team. And to win the World Cup, you've got to beat a top team. So I think France's pathway might get them through.
I totally agree. Actually, I mean, I took a punt. I put a bet out there, and personally, I'm going France. I hope Saliba gets to play regularly. I really do hope that. But Darren, what's your view, mate? What's your thoughts on?
Yeah, I mean, I'm sorry to have a clean sweep on it all, but I'm gonna go France as well. I do think they've got the best sort of squad and first 11. I think England have got a chance, but my concern with Southgate is he going to stay loyal to players that have been in that team in the last few tournaments, and it's going to cost him. I'm thinking about people like Harry Maguire, Raheem Sterling. I'm not sure through the middle who we can play with Declan Rice next to Declan Rice, because Phillips ain't really played a lot of football this season. So that'll be my concern. I'd like to see him go with Saka and Ben White out on the right-hand side, because they've been terrorising oppositions all season and we're top of the league. But all I keep seeing in the media, and through Gary Neville and Jamie Carragher and all these other northern biased commentators, is that Trent Alexander-Arnold should be playing right back. No, he shouldn't. Trent Alexander-Arnold has had a bad season. And what did we used to hear in the World Cups with England before? We used to hear oh, it's got to be Gary Neville and Beckham because they play down the right for Man United. Yeah. So I actually think that's who Southgate should be putting in. Ben White, Saka on the right-hand side. And some of these pundits ain't even got Saka in the team either. They're putting Foden in over him. Foden is a great player and he's good. But what I like about Saka is he's strong. He's a nut. He's a tough nut to crack. He will get in a tackle. He will. The player will get the ball and go past him, but he won't give up. He'll track back and he'll crunch into the tackle, get the ball, and go up the other end of the pitch. But I don't see Phil Foden doing any of that. So call me Arsenal bias, call me what you like, but I'm only seeing it as form is dictating, and the Premier Leagues never lie, and we are top of the league. So, but it's got to be Harry Kane up front. And I just think England, we got a chance, you know as well. It's cup football at the end of the day, apart from the group stages. The group stages, we got no excuses whatsoever. We should be getting through that. And once you're in that second round quarterfinals, it's a one-off. We all know what cup football's like. It's, you just go from game to game. And all of a sudden, you look around, you're in the semi-final. So then you're saying, well, why shouldn't it be us? So we got a chance, but I'm like you. I think France have got too much for us, sort of 1 to 11. A couple of teams as well I was looking at. Senegal, we've got some decent players. Mane and Serbia as well, I think could shock a few. Serbia and Senegal are my shock outfits for this tournament. They won't win it, but they might scalp. They might take a couple of scalps. But looking forward to it. Should be good.
Yeah, I'm to be honest with you, I've never really been into it, but I'm actually quite looking forward to it, to be fair. But before we wrap it up, Kenny Ken, we're 5 points clear. Boxing Day, you'll be at the game,
yes.
West Ham. And do you think, heart in heart, do you think Arsenal can do it this year?
This is the best opportunity they're ever going to get, because when we've been on top at this stage of the season, one of the things that obviously we were very good attacking wise, but defensively we were shambolic. Not so much in 2007, 2008, but definitely in 2013, 2014, when there was a time when we got smashed to pieces by Man City 6-3 when, Mertesacker had to tell Ozil to, cheer the away end. But and then it's proved that season we lost 6-0 to Chelsea and 5-1 to Liverpool. So in that respect, defensively, we're a lot better than we were in definitely 2013, 2014, and probably a bit better, slightly better in 07, 08. So the opportunities are there, but I have to be like realistic. Won't be, but realistic without being pessimistic. If we can cope with the fixture pile-up, because I'm just telling you now, I'm being straight of every football fan out there. I've done the checks. There's going to be a condensed program for us in April from, the international break. After the international break coming into April, there's going to be a condensed program because some of the games, like Everton at home, Man City at home, have to be played between April and May because there's no space in the calendar. Plus, we got to go for the Europa League because it'd be perverse if we're in a tournament that we don't try and win it because we haven't won anything in Europe for about, since it's going to be 29 years. So that respect, that's going to galvanise it. But as you said, Jez, and I don't know what Darren feels about it at all, but if we can't beat Liverpool away, Spurs away, and Man City away, then we're not going to win the league, I'm afraid.
No. Darren, what's your view on it?
Sorry, I might have just missed the question, but I'm guessing it's whether we can win the league or not. My comms has gone a bit down this evening. I mean, I still think the way these fixtures are panning out has been the kindest I've ever seen. I mean, we've next got West Ham and Brighton, and you'd imagine we should get 6 points out of that, although I think Brighton away will be more testing than West Ham at home. And then we got Newcastle at home, Tottenham away, and Man United at home. And whilst you think, they're going to be tough games. They're big clubs and emerging clubs. When you look at it, Newcastle at home, we should be winning against anyone at home. Tottenham away, I now expect to go there and roll them over, given our position in the league and our camaraderie you can see in the team and squad. And then we've got Man United away. That again, we're at home. We should be beating anyone at home. But Ken, you're right. Then fixtures, I think they've just put them out for April, and that is going to be when we really get tested in sort of April. We got a chance, but I wouldn't go out and put large sums of money on us winning the league, because purely for the fact that we haven't got, and we all know this, we ain't got anything big outside the first 11 really to back us up. And when you enter March and April into a normal season, that's when your squad has to come in. Like we used to have people like Giovanni Van Bronckhorst who'd come in, slot in the midfield, and he'd knock a goal or two in, and that would see us through to titles. I don't see too many of them sort of players in our squad, unless Reece Nelson's going to step up and do something like that we're not expecting. You've got Smith Rowe to come back as well. We got an outside chance, I think, of winning the title. Definitely. If we can still be hanging in there about April, then we got a chance.
Totally agree. I've been saying that. Totally agree. We're going to wrap it up, guys. Tomorrow night is going to be quite an interesting show. I'm doing a show on who has been Arsenal's best manager. The stats on the poll I've put out are quite interesting. They're quite interesting. And I'll shut the poll probably about 6:30 tomorrow night. So go and have a look at it. See what you think. There's 4 big names of Arsenal in there. And I'd love to see what the final stats are. So I'll be doing that show tomorrow night, 7:30. Next week, I'm going to be doing a new type of history stuff about Arsenal players, defenders, midfielders, attackers, goalkeepers, and all that sort of stuff.
You ain't going to do Willie Young, are you? You ain't going to do Willie Young, are you?
Might give him a miss, mate. Might give him a miss.
I wonder why.
Yeah, I wonder why. But Kenny Ken. Oh, we lost Darren again. Where's he gone? He's back. Hang on. He's back. Hang on. Right. So, going to wrap it up, guys. Thanks for watching. Thanks for
need to do the
likes. Please sub and like the channel. It all helps. Going to be a lot of stuff coming up. I'm going to do World Cup stuff. I might even do a few watch-alongs, which will be different for me in a World Cups thing. But there we go. Kenny Ken, give your channel a shout out. Where can we find you, my friend, on Insta?
Oh yeah, my Instagram's at Kenny Ken 1972. I don't go on Twitter that much, but there's so much happening. I'm gonna be like a rash all over you guys with me point of views. I just like having a laugh, man. I mean, I put something there yesterday about the 1988 Euro song, Bobby Robson, God bless his soul, dad dancing, Tony Adams on the like I said, plates machine, having a bit of sing-song miming. That's what tournament football's all about when England are there. So I'm going to be very, very busy, not doing it on a professional basis like you two are in terms of channels. But I'm going to have a laugh. I can't wait for the World Cup. I'm like a little kid again.
Nice, yeah, absolutely. Darren, you're on Insta. You do your stuff on there. Shout yourself out, my friend.
Yeah, it's Darren Sullivan 49 on Insta. I do a few posts on there about Arsenal stuff. Going to be going into the World Cup. Looking forward to all the games. So and technically analysing all the performances, who's playing, and everything else. Can't wait for it all. It's great. I love it. International football is totally different from club football. Slower. And what I like about it is you might get a player in the club football that ain't all that, but then they go into the international game because it's a different game. They'll start popping goals in, from midfield. Like, who's it? Matt Holland, I think he scored a few goals for Ireland when they were in it. And remember Junichi Inamoto scoring goals for Japan. And we're all getting excited about him when he got to Arsenal. When he got to Arsenal, he did fuck all.
Talking about tournaments, remember David Healy for Northern Ireland? He weren't that great at Norwich, Fulham, and all these other clubs he was at. But for Northern Ireland, he can't stop scoring. But when you talk about players who don't normally do well for their clubs, you just talked about Sterling and Maguire. So in that respect, they're starting then.
Here's a quick one before we go.
Yeah. Exactly.
World Cup song. My one is Mexico 70 back home. Da, 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 da. That's my favourite one. That's the first World Cup I remember.
World in Motion. There isn't a better song than World in Motion by World in Motion by New Order. You can't get
agree.
Can't get better than that.
Yeah.
I just go with Back Home. It's the first one I ever remember. That one.
Yeah.
Bobby Moore.
That's the one.
And all that lot. And Jack Charlton, Bobby Charlton. I remember that. I mean, they're all a load of shit, really, aren't they? But
except for World in Motion. Except for World in Motion.
Yeah, I mean, okay, fair enough. I'll tell you that. Fair play, guys. Right, I'm going to do the outro, and I'll speak to you, everybody, later. Kenny, thanks for coming on, mate. Darren, thanks for coming on. It's always a pleasure. And we'll look forward to the World Cup starting Sunday, isn't it? Is it Sunday?
Yeah. Sunday. Qatar.
Qatar. 1-0, Ecuador 3.
Fair play. And I'll see anybody watching tomorrow night at 7:30 talking about the greatest Arsenal manager in current days. We'll see what happens. It's going to be quite interesting, I think. Thanks for watching, everybody. If you haven't, sub, like, and I'll speak to you all soon. Take care.
I'm relieved to hear that you've been to some fireplaces. It's hard to carry on when you feel all alone. Now I've swung back down again. It's worse than it was before. If I hadn't seen such riches, I could live